Austin Gayle here with Mike Renner, ready to talk draft needs in the NFC East. Starting with the Eagles' defense, there's needs at linebacker and cornerback. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, linebacker, obviously losing Jordan Hicks, him going to Arizona free agency, going to be a big need there. And then cornerback, well, they re-signed Ronald Darby. You just had to watch them at the end of the year, what they were like without Ronald Darby in the lineup with his injury concerns, how much that big of a need that is. Sidney Jones, they have some young players in the roster. Sidney Jones drafted early after, he tore his Achilles in the pre-draft process. Also drafted Rasul Douglas early rounds, but neither of them have really proven it yet. You don't want to go in 2019 with those two, relying on one of them to be a starter. I think you add another name in that mix because you need three cornerbacks to win in today's NFL.
In addition to the defense, there's a need at running back. Though it's not a valuable position, they need a guy there that can do something.
Yeah, while we sort of hammer the value of a running back, you could still be bad at the position. There's a lot of good ones in the NFL, but you can still be bad, and the Eagles were about as bad as you could get in 2018. Still one of the best offensive lines, but just could get nothing going in the running game because of their paucity of talent there at running back. I think you add one in the 4th, 5th, 6th, late round running back would do wonders for this team.
Day 3 running backs, that's where you really need to pick them. Moving to the Cowboys, they need help at defensive interior.
Yeah, they definitely do. I think that's been the story for them for a while now. A one-gapping nose tackle or even a 3 technique, they could use someone on the interior to pair with DeMarcus Lawrence there on the outside, really take that pass rush to the next level because he can't do it all on his own.
Pass catching weapons they need with Amari Cooper. They have Amari Cooper, but they need somebody opposite of him. And tight end, even though Jason Witten's back, they need some help there as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, Jason Witten looked like he was done 2 years ago when he finally did retire. As a receiving, he could be a blocking threat still. He could add in that running game, but as a receiver, he's not going to run more than those little 5-yard option routes. He's not going to be a downfield threat. There's some downfield threats in this tight end class that can actually get out and run. I think they could add one of those in the 2nd round. That would be a complementary piece, really fortify that offense around Dak Prescott.
With that need at wide receiver, they have Michael Gallup, they have Amari Cooper. Where does this third guy fit in for them?
Yeah, I think they could use someone in the slot to replace Cole Beasley. And the nice thing about that is you can find a slot receiver 4th round, 5th round. Those guys don't usually go early. So if you really want to replace them, it should be easy to do without that 1st round pick.
Absolutely. Another need, at wide receiver in the NFC East is with the Redskins. They've needed a guy, even though they drafted Josh Dotson a long time ago, he's never really panned out for them. He hasn't lived up to the hype. They need someone there that can make some plays.
Yeah, after Pierre Garçon and Deshaun Jackson leave, they really have struggled to replace that production that those guys had on the outside. Jameson Crowder now gone as well, so that whole receiving core that was so talented, that produced so well there in Washington, basically gone. Alex Smith gone at quarterback too. We're not putting quarterback on needs with this. We treat that as a separate need, but obviously you need a quarterback there as well. So if you do draft a young guy, you're going to need build some weapons around him. They could use basically any position at wide receiver.
Case Keenum, a stopgap solution, and Alex Smith, not sure if he'll play again, so adding a pass catcher definitely makes sense. Going to the defensive side of the ball, they need a cornerback opposite of Josh Norman, and they need linebacker. Where do you see those needs being fit in the draft?
Yeah, I think linebacker, after they signed Landon Collins and dropped Zach Brown because of the contracts there, I think it still is a need, even though Landon Collins might play some hybrid linebacker, dime sort of safety role in that defense, but I do still think it will be a need for them. Like you mentioned, they really have no one across from Josh Norman. Josh Norman probably won't be there that long either at this point, so even replacing him, it could make sense to draft his replacement fairly early on.
Moving to the New York Football Giants, we know they need a quarterback. They need to move on Eli Manning, but not talking quarterback, they need a cornerback on that defense side of the ball.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is a top 3 right here, but you could expand this list to basically anywhere on that roster. But yes, cornerback, Janoris Jenkins, again, very bloated contract. I think you can definitely address that position. Linebacker as well, it's been a story for probably over a decade for the Giants. Need someone there, really have gotten no production. Alec Ogletree, the trade, he put up big tackle numbers, but in our grading system, still graded about what we expected for his career, which is not good whatsoever. So someone to replace those two guys at linebacker and cornerback. Like I said, they can go basically anywhere, offensive side of the ball, defensive side of the ball, a lot of needs on that roster.
Moving on from linebacker, they pushed away Olivier Vernon. They need to bring someone in there. They're drafting high. There could be a pass rusher. Do you see that as a fit?
Yeah, I will say that edge rush class is very deep. Whether they address that in the top 10 or in the teens or even at the wrap in the 2nd round, there's going to be talent there. There's going to be someone that's better than what they got on their roster right now. So it wouldn't surprise me with the value that edge defender brings to the table if that's one of the first 3 picks.
Well, there you have it. This has been Team Needs in the NFC East with Austin Gayle and Mike Renner.